All right, so humans inherit, right? So you don't really have that in the animal kingdom, right? A lion dies, it basically leaves the same type of world for its offspring. Whereas humans, now we invest our time and our energy and our resources that we gather, right? And try and leave something for another generation. Or we cause problems and cause issues, right? We don't have like that genetic passing down, right? So chickens instinctively are afraid of hawks, even if they've lived indoors for their entire lives and never seen a hawk before. But you fly one over and make a noise, yeah, all those chickens will run scared, right? That's genetic passed down, right? The just innately. But whereas humans, like we pass down all sorts of things, right? History, right? I think it's Isaac. We stand on the shoulder of giants, yeah, and that is something that is it's what sets us apart, right? So our information compounds, our worlds compound, right? Our structures compound. Everything you can stack, right? So it only takes one person to figure something out, and then the human species as a whole can use that, and it'll change the course and the direction of everything, right? We are making history all the damn time, right? It's cliche, everybody knows that. But like we are characters in history. We will be gone, right? And whatever contribution or lack thereof we have brought into this world, it can exist beyond us, right? Not just our children and our children's children, right? But all of the little things that triggered other things, that triggered possibly significant things, right? Because it's unfathomable how things play out, right? We seem to have this really weird perception of time and history that it was supposed to unfold the exact way that it did, or that certain events were inevitable, right? But I think we all know through just life experience that you can think of something, not do it, and then regret not listening to yourself in that particular moment, right? Because you already know how likely the other thing, oh, that crossed my mind too. Ah, and then you beat yourself all the more because of it instead of just being blindsided. It was something that you preemptively had thought about and you had the capacity to change, but you didn't, right? So the same thing with history and civilizations and nations and just all of it. Yeah, relatively easy to conceptualize that, but for some reason we don't, you know. And so I think that we kind of have to try to make an active exercise of seeing how you fit in the world, at least in the historical sense, right? How like the society that you live in as a whole is going to be viewed, right? Take yourself out of it emotionally and look at it subjectively. Try and look at it without your emotional biases, right? Because that's where people get tripped up, even if they look into their own memory, which is very short, right? Because our species can only perceive time in half a dimension, right? We can't do that perfectly, right? Our memories are very flawed. We like to play around with it. It's very much influenced by our emotions, by our narrative, right? Because we tell a narrative, it's all constructed partially through the ego and through our conscious thought, right? So we paint a picture, we tell a story, and it's definitely not without its quirks, right? And we do not remember things to the finest detail, and definitely not in exactitude. And the idea that we do, or the feeling that you do, is a very dangerous one, and it can lead you to just repeated folly as you examine a history that is false, not only within your own life, but within our species as a whole, right? Because we like to look at highly idealized portraits of history, very biased, right? Set up And there definitely is a lot of different ways to go with it and a lot of different perspectives to be had. And there are things that are just outright false, right? Voltaire, history is a pack of lies agreed upon. But that doesn't mean that there isn't concrete things that are going to shape the future, right? Lied about or not, things did happen. Decisions were made. People were involved every step of the way. And every single figure throughout history, be it good, evil, or forgotten, they were people, right? The same as any of us, but not us. And that is an amazing thing. So you should feel really small in comparison to the vast amount of people that have lived and do currently live. But at the same time, you should feel uplifted by that because they are all just people, much like yourself, I would assume. So, what do we want to do with this potential power, right? To influence the world, at least in our own little way. What is the goal, right? What direction is history marching? Are our descendants going to curse us for our ineptitude, our ignorance, and our weakness? More than likely, seeing as how things are going at this current juncture, right? Now, let's talk about generational curses, right? And I mean that in a, I don't know, I guess a sort of loaded sense, right? Because everybody right now is talking a lot about uh, race and income inequality and all of this other fun, right? And it's not about like a white privilege, right? It's about what your ancestors did, right? Most immediately, your ancestors, like your parents, your grandparents, maybe your great grandparents, right? How were they as individuals? Did they rise above? Did they leave something for their offspring? No. When you look at it on a personal level, instead of on a huge semantic level, right, you can kind of assume responsibility for your own offspring, try to break that cycle. Now, there were a lot of heinous crimes committed against groups of people for various reasons and done by various other individuals. But we do have the capacity to break that, and we damn well ought to. Not only as a civilization, but as individuals. We got more in common with each other than we want us to fight. My friend just got here. I'm going to cut it short.